Hello, this is Debbie Roberts. I'm going to be making an alternative card. I'm going to be using the Never Ending card kit from the Printable Crafts shop, and I'm going to be making a men's overall card, so a toolkit card for a man. This is what the end product's going to look like. What we have to print off from the Printable Craft shop is the A4 backing paper. We only need half a sheet, so I've cut it in half and we'll just use the one half. We need an A4 piece of cardstock. I've used 300 GSM cardstock, which I've folded in half to make a card blank. Piece of A5 cardstock. And we need a topper sheet, which we're going to cut each of the individual tools out of, which we're going to be using for our project. So if we pop that to one side, we're going to start off with the A4 card, which we folded down into an A5 card blank. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a shirt collar from the A5 black card. What I'm going to do is just fold the top part in half, match the corners and just pinch it so it shows me exactly where the centre of the card is. Taking my scissors, I'm just going to cut down about 1.5 inches down that card. All I'm going to do then is fold back on that cut line to give me a collar. I'm going to use my nail to score as opposed to using a scoreboard, as I have long nails, so they're quite useful for doing this. What we then do is have to mat the black card on top of our base white card. To do this, I'm just going to be using Collel all-purpose glue from Crafter's Companion. It does give us a little bit of wiggle time, so it takes 2 minutes to dry fully, so we have a little bit of manoeuvrability, so if the card doesn't go down perfectly square when we first put it down, we can then move that around. I'm just going to put the glue on this. I'm leaving the collar up because I want the collar folded backwards on the card, and I am literally just matching that up to all the corners. Because we've got that wiggle room, we have a couple of minutes before it dries fully. If I've decided it's in the wrong place, I can physically take off the entire sheet of card and repop it on my card where I want it to be. Now the purpose of this card is we have a white t-shirt underneath the black shirt. I'm just going to rub the glue down. So we then have our card. If you wanted to make this into a tuxedo card, you'd add buttons down the front of the card. You would have a little dicky bow in there and a little pocket with a little handkerchief coming out, and then you will have an alternative male card, which is a tuxedo card. Using our backing paper, which I've cut in half to an A5 sheet, on the reverse what I've done is I've drew the basic shape of an apron in pen. It only needs to be rough. What I'm then going to do is just hold the card in half, matching the corners together. I'm not going to fold it fully, but I'm just going to cut the basic shape of the apron out. By holding it together, it gives me the same pattern on both sides. I'm then just going to cut down to create the shoulder straps, and then across to create the top of the apron. We're not going to bin those waist pieces, we're actually going to use those for something else. We've got the shape of our apron or overall. What we're going to do is then stick it to the card. You'll notice though the shoulder straps get stuck on the collar. I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to mark where the fold line is on the card. So as you can see, I've now got lines. I don't need those bits because they're going to sit underneath the collar of the card, so they can actually go out of the way. They don't need to be on the card. Using double-sided tape, I'm now just going to stick some tape to raise this part of the card up. I just want a little bit of height. It's very sticky tape this. I'm not going to put any on the shoulder straps because I'm going to put the buckle on there and then I'm going to flat stick those with glue. They don't need to be raised. Just taking the tape off the back of the card. There we go. And then lining up my card. I'm just going to give it a bit of shape. Lining up my card. I'm then just going to stick this onto the card. What I've also done is I've cut out, using a punch, 2 buckle shapes. So using a buckle punch, I've just cut those out in advance, which will then allow me to slide those down the straps and into place on the card. Just going to finish the top section by just adding a little bit of glue to the shoulder straps, just so they stick down. I want the buckles to move, so I've not added any glue around the buckle area, and I just want those to sit there, so when the shoulder straps sit down under the collar, you can't see them, and then you've got the buckle there, which is perfect. What we now need to do is add a pocket for the tools to go in. So using the waste piece of card, again taking the scissors, I'm just going to fold it in half where the circle part is, and I'm just going to cut a basic pocket shape. Now you have the 2 of the waste pieces, so if it's not the right shape that you like, it doesn't matter. We can then just use the other piece to give us the right shape. I want to raise that on the card, so I'm going to take some foam pads, and the foam pads are a little bit thick to use on their own. So what I'm going to do is just cut them in half and pop them around the edges of the pocket, just to raise it slightly. I'm just taking the backing off these. They do appear to be extremely sticky. So there we go. Making sure that's nice and rounded, give us a nice little bit of shape. I'm then just going to pop that down in the centre, lining them up. There we go. So we've now got the buckles on, we've got the shoulder straps, we've got the open shirt collar, we've got the apron or the overalls, and we've got the pocket in there. Now using the topper sheet, I'm just going to cut out the elements. Rather than you watching me cut out little bits of card, which I'm sure you can do, I've pre-cut them out to give us that little bit more time. So I've cut out the pliers, the hammer, the scraper, the paintbrush, which I've actually cut into to make the edges a little bit more brush-like, the saw, the screwdriver, and then the sentiments at the bottom. So we've got all of those out. What I've done is I've taken them and I've put some foam pads on the top section. I'm not worried about the bottom section because it's going to be sat inside the pocket, so you're not going to see those bits. So the first one I just want overhanging the pocket a little bit, and then the same the other side. I tend to work one side to the other and then keep them equal. So whatever happens on the one side, I then try and mirror that on the other side. The one goes in the centre. Then I'm going to have the saw to put on. Go for the paintbrush with its nice brittles. And then finally the screwdriver, which we're just going to have stuck between the paintbrush and the scraper. You then have your overall card with your tool sticking out. We're just going to finish it off with a little happy birthday sentiment, which I've put little foam pads on the back of. And we're just going to tuck that at the bottom, and we have our finished card. Thank you for looking. Please keep an eye out for future projects. Thank you very much.